In the 1967 short story, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, the human population has been nearly wiped from the face of the planet due to the actions of a sentient supercomputer known as the Allied Master Computer, or AM for short. Disgusted by the actions and mere existence of man, AM exterminates the whole of humanity except for a measly 5 individuals. They are instead forced to endure torture for 1,000 lifetimes, as AM has somehow managed to make them near immortal. The main bulk of the story involves our 5 protagonists as they attempt to reach a cave supposedly filled with supplies. Ultimately, their mission goes awry, and 4 of the 5 characters are mercy killed by a man named Ted. Before he can go out on his own terms, AM stops him and retaliates by transforming the man into a soft, gelatinous blob that is unable to harm both himself and others. As Ted reflects on how he saved the others from fates worse than death, the poor flabby entity laments.
I have no mouth, and I must scream.
I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream has forever terrified me since I read the short story. AM's rise to power and his complete and total annihilation of the human race, save for those he tortures for all eternity, is genuinely horrifying to me. Especially Ted's everlasting fate at the end of the story. The idea of living thousands upon thousands of lifetimes as an amorphous pile of slime, unable to stop a vengeful robot overlord from torturing me to the very end of time itself is, well, let's just say the whole situation is as unimaginable as it is inhuman. But why exactly am I bringing up this nearly 60-year-old horror story? Well, I wanted to mention this story specifically because of its nightmarish ending. Ted's ultimate fate is, objectively speaking here, one of the worst ways to go out in the history of fiction. I have seldom seen any other character meet an end that's as hopeless and as dark as Ted's. Now, with that being said, would you believe me if I told you there's a Fortnite character that has gone through similarly torturous experiences? Would you also believe me if I told you he's a literal serial mascot? Have you guys ever noticed just how many mascot-like costumes exist in Fortnite? You know, skins that are made up of people wearing bright, attention-grabbing outfits. While this genre of skin was initially spearheaded by Cuddle Team Leader's appearance in Chapter 1, Season 2, it wasn't until the following season that things really started to ramp up. Season 3 is where we'd be introduced to Tomato Head, the face of the Uncle Pete's Pizza Pit restaurant chain, operating opposite of the burger joint known as Der Burger. Said burger joint would gain a mascot of its own 2 seasons later in the form of Beef Boss, and from there both him and Tomato Head would become bitter rivals. Not only that, but more and more mascot-like character skins would continue to pop up from here on out. And much like the intro to this video, I'm going so in-depth on the history of this subject because I really want to illustrate a point. That being the fact that so much personality goes into these silly skins. Like, Epic could have just added Tomato Head to the game and called it a day. Instead, they went on to establish things for his character like the aforementioned rivalry with Beef Boss, as well as the fact that he's apparently the leader of an all-powerful brainwashing cult. Yeah, TLDR, Epic really loves to give the silliest of skins the most interesting backstories. Which brings us to the subject of today's video. After a few years of taking on so many different mascot designs, ranging from dinosaurs, chickens, and anthropomorphic pancake people, someone at Epic Games must have had the realization that there's one mascot type they hadn't tackled yet. A type of mascot that millions of people around the world see on a daily basis.
They're great!
Fortnite's take on the concept of a cereal mascot came during Chapter 2, Season 8, aka Cubed. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Fabio Sparklemane, the official mascot of the cereal brand Unicorn Flakes. He's an anthropomorphic pink unicorn dressed in a sparkly silver vest and gym shorts. His mane, tail, and horn are all rainbow colored, and he sports a rather fit build. I think it's rather obvious that the real-life Fabio was a pretty big inspiration for this guy, given the fit, handsome build the character possesses. He comes with 2 additional styles, one known as Golden Crunch, and another known as Flame Roasted. These are also 2 flavors of the aforementioned Unicorn Flakes cereal. Being a magical creature of myth and, a literal cartoon cereal mascot, Fabio has some rather unusual abilities. He seemingly has the ability to fly with the help of glitter-encrusted rainbow wings, and according to the horse himself, the uncanny ability to shoot his trademark cereal out of his hooves. It should also be pointed out that this horse knows how to hit the yoinky sploinky. Now, at a glance, Fabio honestly doesn't seem to be anything too out of the ordinary, at least when it comes to the world of Fortnite skins. Remember, this is the same game with a giant living fruit, vampires, and Goku running around. I honestly do think that Fabio does a pretty good job at serving as a parody of the anthropomorphic cereal mascot trope. Like, I could definitely see his face plastered on a cereal box at the end of the cereal aisle. Not on any official Kellogg or General Mills boxes, mind you. Unicorn Flakes strikes me as a great value brand kind of cereal. But yeah, like I said, there doesn't appear to be anything noteworthy about Fabio from a glance. The first instance that there might be something wrong with Fabio came immediately upon his addition to the game. During Chapter 2 Season 8's run, Fabio was one of the many NPCs that would spawn on the map. Speaking to Fabio for the first time would result in him asking a rather strange question.
Hiya! Any idea how to break cereal-based curses?
Okay, bit of an odd greeting. What exactly does he mean by cereal-based curses? After all, isn't he merely a corporate mascot used to sell subpar cereal? What's all this talk about curses? Maybe there's something in the character collection book that'll explain what he means. Okay, let's see here. Fabio's description goes as follows.
Hey there, it's me, the beloved mascot / spokeshorse for Unicorn Flakes, cursed to roam the island shooting cereal out of my hooves until the sun turns to ash in the sky. What a hug.
Huh. Okay, well, that's an interesting description. The first thing to note about the description is actually the way it's written. Character descriptions created for the collection book are often much more neatly put together and, more importantly, done from a third-person perspective. Both of these guidelines clearly weren't followed with this description, almost like it was written by Fabio himself. Because, well, let's be honest here, it probably was. The second thing to note about this description is what it says towards the end there. If we were to read through the lines a bit, we can summarize that Fabio is directly telling us that he was cursed to sell unicorn flakes until the end of time. That's a pretty bad fate, all things considered. Might not be as bad as Ted's fate in I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, but it's still pretty bad. But, at least it can't get much worse, right? Right? If we were to head over to the lobby tracks tab and boot up Flake That, the music track that came part of Fabio's cosmetic set, a clearer understanding of the cereal curse becomes more clear. Let's take a listen to the song and analyze its lyrics, shall we?
There once was a unicorn with magical feet, that shared human rainbows with everyone he meets. They're crunchy and they're chewy and they'll give you tiny aches. Everybody gets some unicorn flakes.
It's a party in my hoof!
Now, admittedly, this song doesn't really sound all that sinister. In fact, it sounds just like a pretty generic cereal jingle, but that's exactly what they want you to think. Peep that part at the end where they say the cereal will give you tummy aches. Why would you ever advertise that your product could potentially injure you if you bought it? It's just a subtle reminder that things aren't as they seem with unicorn flakes. Let's continue.
With 5 kinds of magic and crunch with a punch. Stays crispy and so light until well after lunch. Also magic from your hoof until your breakfast spirit breaks. Everybody gets some unicorn flakes.
I cannot stop! Help me!
This verse reiterates what we already know about Fabio and his curse. That being that he's forced to share unicorn flakes with anyone and everyone he meets by way of shooting it from his hooves. The line, guzzle magic from your hoof till your breakfast spirit breaks, supports this, and much like in Fabio's character description, it's implied that he'll have to do this until he either goes insane or dies. Most important thing to note, however, is the fact that we can hear Fabio begging for help, as well as how he can't stop himself from eating the unicorn flakes.
I cannot stop! Help me!
The song continues, and things somehow only get worse from here on out.
There's a curse that must be obeyed. You can never escape what the rainbow has made. Summon breakfast power from the depths until the monster wakes. Everybody gets some unicorn flakes.
This verse reveals the most sinister part of the unicorn flakes curse. The line, you can never escape what the rainbow has made, as I understand it, implies that Fabio wasn't always a dancing ass. Rather, at one point, this poor soul was actually a human being like you and me. It was only upon the consumption of the unicorn flakes did this unfortunate curse get casted. And now, he can never undo the curse. He can never escape what the rainbow has made. Okay, look, I promise I'm not pulling this out of nowhere. Fabio himself can vouch for me. If we were to once again talk to the Fabio NPC whilst wearing the Fabio Sparklemane skin, he'll say this.
Oh no! They got you too!
This practically confirms not only what I just said, but it also confirms that this specific version of the Fabio Sparklemane entity has been around for quite a long time, long enough to see others suffer the same fate as him. Furthermore, the line, selling breakfast powered from the depths until the monster wakes, reveals the true nature of why unicorn flakes curse people to begin with. It's not just done to further the sale of a corporate product, it's done with the intent of awakening some sort of monster from the great unknown. Now, look, I know this is a pretty huge revelation, but I need to finish talking about the lobby track real quick. The rest of the song features a distressed Fabio begging for his life as he unwillingly consumes more of the Eldritch Feast. Eventually, after putting up a valiant fight, Fabio, or rather the person who became Fabio, succumbs to the horrors. Take a listen.
Take of my hoof, feel my power.
So, to recap everything we just learned, unicorn flakes are an extension of an eldritch beast who is attempting to destroy all known life in the Fortnite omniverse. To accomplish this goal, the Great Terror uses a portion of his cosmic power to create a breakfast cereal known as unicorn flakes. Any unfortunate soul who eats the cereal is then tainted by the monster's power, transforming them into an entity known as Fabio Sparklemane. The entity is then forced to spread the infection, aka unicorn flakes, to as many people as possible, which in turn causes them to become Fabio. These unwilling subjects do this until they either go insane, die, or until the rainbow monster awakens and destroys all known life to ever exist. So, yeah, that's the complete history behind this seemingly innocent Fortnite skin. I wasn't lying when I made the claim that this dude is the game's darkest character, by far. I didn't even mention the fact that he's also in constant agony, because at this point, I think you get it. Ted's fate in I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream was tragic, and I'd argue that Fabio's fate is just as, if not more, traumatic. But this story actually has a pretty happy ending. Sparklemane can be seen getting in line to ride the mechanism during the Chapter 3 Season 3 cinematic trailer. This obviously means that Fabio was around during the events of Chapter 3, which means there's a pretty good likelihood he died when the Herald chromed the island, finally putting him out of his misery. Look, it's a happy ending from a certain point of view. So what did we learn here today? Well, we learned that Am is kind of a someone at Epic Games clearly loves the writings of H.P. Lovecraft, and Fabio is a nightmare given human form. But I think that's all I have to say on the matter. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you liked what you saw, like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on the bell. Be sure to check out my Discord server, linked in the description, and make sure to use my creator code next time you check out at the item shop. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'll see you in the next one.